cancer my greatest teacher? Why is it greatest? Most of the time we think about cancer as something we want to kill, want to conquer, we want this to go away, and we simply hate it. But for me it was never a fight. For me I took it as an opportunity to go into deeper aspects of myself, to transcend certain limitation and come around as with some insights, very important insights. So I'm a doctor and I've graduated in Poland. I'm quite a conventional person, and for over 30 years I practice very conventional medicine, and very much evidence-based, factual. But at the same time, ever since I remember, I always have this fascination with other aspects of our conditions. So I've always been fascinated by something unconventional, something different, by premonition, dreams, insights. And I used to see quite a few clairvoyants in the past, which not anymore. But in the beginning of 2000, I saw a clairvoyant who actually said to me, "You're going to write a book." And I just burst out laughing. I said, "Come on, my Polish was never good enough to write a book, and forget about English, this is my second language, so I will never write a book." And he just said, "You will see." So then a few years later, about 2017, I wrote a very simple book, Introduction to Medicinal Cannabis, because I felt, as I became interested in medicinal cannabis, my learning study was very chaotic, and I was a very busy GP, so I thought I need to put something simple, straightforward for busy doctors, give them basic science behind medicinal cannabis and some practicality. So that book happened to be quite useful and quite popular. But then I didn't really didn't know that there will be another book. Next. And then that was this one. How it happened, it really feels like that something within me dictated that book. It was October morning in 2017. I lived in the mountains, and I woke up in that transitional state between sleep and being awake. A thought came to me, almost felt like thought from something from beyond. And that voice within me asked me, "What really cancer meant for you?" And straight away the second thought came, and it said, it was my teacher. So I jumped out of bed, went to the computer, opened Word, and I typed the words, "Cancer, my greatest teacher, doctor's story of love, healing and inspiration." And for about 6 weeks I was waking up every morning about 6 o'clock before going to work, and it really felt like date with a destiny. I didn't even know how I would be writing, what would be coming out. And so within 6 weeks a basic manuscript came out, but then I didn't know what to do about it. So basically I was just focusing on my cancer story. And then I gave this manuscript to an agency. It was called Manuscript Agency. And the lady who read it, she said, "It's actually very good. I quite like it. It's very interesting. But I want to know more about you. I want to know not just about your cancer experience, but I want to know about your life in Poland when you were born. How was your childhood? What are your dreams, ambitions?" So then she gave me some structure, and from book just about the cancer, the book about my life came out. So next one. And there was some important I think realization came from this book, and this is my quote, that sometimes disease is not about disease. Sometimes it is about what we need to heal in our lives, and it can take us on a journey of self-discovery only if we are willing to take that path. And healing occurs on many levels and comes from many sources. And healing is also our own responsibility. Other people, including doctors, can only guide us. Next one. So I'm just going to briefly share my story. My initial diagnosis was in 2001. It was just before, the day before Mother's Day, I found a lump in my breast. It was kind of life-changing lump. I'm not going to talk too much about the details. Of course, I was quite shocked, and I felt a lot of shame, because being a doctor, I realized that the lump was very big, about 6 centimeters. So I felt disappointed. I felt quite ashamed of myself that I allowed this to grow within me, that I didn't examine my breast before, that I didn't do anything about it. So when I found this lump, lots of thoughts and emotions came from me. It was almost like a movie in a slow motion. The thoughts were coming. Has it spread? How far is it gone? How much I've got to go? Maybe I will die soon. I started looking at my body and busily thinking, oh, these hands, these arms may disappear in a few months. Is it possible I won't be here? Can it be possible at all? So then I felt that it was important to me to embrace all types of treatment. I went through the traditional chemotherapy, radiotherapy, I have lumpectomy, I have mastectomy, all these kind of things, then breast reconstruction. But there was something else that was guiding me. So this is my just treatments that I underwent. Next one. So what was very, very important in my opinion, apart from just taking conventional medicines and approaches, the lifestyle measures. I was very lucky because I was able to take 6 months off. I was able to actually focus on myself. I was always a very popular and very, very busy doctor. I was always attending to the needs of others. I was always looking after family. I never had enough time for myself. I never had enough time for my own needs. It was always serving others. And then, when the cancer came, I realized that I really need to focus on myself. So I was able to take time off, and I spent a lot of time in meditation, because somebody told me that if you meditate about 3 hours per day, then you can heal everything. So I was actually meditating 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at lunchtime, 1 hour in the evening. I was also taking lots of long walks, gardening. So paradox is that cancer gave me the best 6 months of my life, when it was okay to say that I needed to sleep, that I need to meditate, that I need to rest. Everyone could understand it. And the question is, why do we need potentially fatal disease to actually focus on our needs? Why can't we have balance in our lives and being okay with serving ourselves as well as serving others? But also, I believed that complete cure is possible. Can I, next one? And what happened, that was the most important part, connecting with that divine within me, the presence. And it's out, this belief, this presence is outside of any belief system, outside of religion. Doesn't matter if you are Muslim, Christian or Buddhist, whatever you are. I remember clearly, and I experienced this, that when I first found this lump, after initial shock, within about 10 or 15 minutes, something mysterious happened. And I felt this tangible energy around my heart. It felt like something, I really don't know how to describe. I try to describe in my book, but I think words are not adequate. And basically, I think they are never adequate to describe something that was mysterious. It felt very reassuring energy. I would even give it a color. It was almost like a pink color. And that the knowing came that I'm going to come out of that. But this is a teaching experience, but I need to go through it to come through some kind of realizations. And I think that the universe, the destiny, gives us these experiences to realize who we really are. And I call it the presence. And that presence was guiding me. And I really believe that it is possible to heal. But also, when I was going through cancer experience in 2001, I didn't really focus on statistics of recovery. I didn't really worry about what kind of treatment I'm going to have. I trust my oncologists and my doctors. My main interest was, because I believe in psychological law, what you focus on grows for you. I was focusing on so-called miraculous healings. I was focusing on cases of so-called spontaneous remissions. And there are so many of them. It was fascinating me. How is it possible that sometimes people are giving only 2 or 3 weeks to live, and from some belief going to Lourdes or going whatever, drinking holy water, somehow they are able to experience the complete remission and for the disease never come back. Next one. So I think it was absolutely essential, that feeling the connection of presence. And then I enjoy about 18 years of cancer-free life. But I think after initial couple of years, I think I forgot about things. I think I became busy again. I didn't really quite often, didn't follow good diet, didn't exercise, didn't meditate enough, all of these things. And then, unfortunately, in May 2019, it was again around Mother's Day. Funny thing about the Mother Day, but things are happening for me, and I think that, you know, breast to me represents the nurturing part of us. So maybe that nurturing part symbolically, maybe I didn't connect with nurturing myself. So what happened? It was just a few days before Hemp Expo in Sydney, and I started experiencing extremely severe pain in my left shoulder. That pain was so severe, it felt like someone was putting hot iron on my shoulder, and it was mostly at night, and it was so bad that I couldn't even find the place. I didn't know what to do about it. I was trying to take some Panadol, nothing worked, but it was only at night. Through the day, I didn't feel anything at all. So that prompted me to organize the whole body bone scan. And when the result came, next one. When the result came, the biggest fear of any cancer patient became my reality. It reoccurred. It was back in my body. Or perhaps it never left me and had just stayed dormant. So when the result of the bones came, I started reading the report. I came straight into conclusion, and that the report said that metastatic lesions in left lung, pleural effusion, which is fluid in the lung, multiple nodules on my pleural lining, nodules in the upper lung, and there was huge lump in mediastinum, very close to my heart. This lump was about 3.7 millimeters, close to 4 centimeters. And then I have multiple lesions in my bones. I have lesions in my lower back, in my hip, in my sternum. So I was really quite shocked. Next one. And of course I embraced all the treatment. But what is strange, that soon after I had the bone scan, the pain in my shoulder disappeared completely. And there was no cancer in my left shoulder. So I think I got the warning again. Was it someone tapping on my shoulder? I can't understand it. I mean, conventional thinking doctors will probably may have various explanations, but I do believe in spiritual and metaphysical. I do believe that we are spiritual beings who happen to have occasional human experience, and that universe talks to us in many ways, sometimes very subtle, but our minds are generally so busy that we simply just too loud in our mind to listen to the subtle messages. So they embraced the conventional treatment. I had medication prescribed by the oncologist, conventional treatments. I went high doses. I went on high doses of medicinal cannabis, also lots of various supplements and herbs. Next one. But, and again, lifestyle measures, meditation, breath work, long walks, yoga, and so on. Next one. However, during that time, I just couldn't get it right. I was feeling so extremely unwell. I had severe abdominal pain. I think it was all the medication that was giving me these symptoms. Sometimes it felt like I had such a severe abdominal pain, it felt like someone just kicked me in my gut. And I had horrible nausea, poor appetite. I also felt so very depressed. I started having suicidal thoughts. I thought, being a doctor and having suicidal thoughts, I felt like if I'm going to live like that, what's the point? I might as well stop everything and just let myself be taken. And I was extremely fatigued as well. Within few months, I lost close to 30 kilo. I was quite big before, 28 kilo exactly. And it was a lot of trial and error. I was trying to get it right somehow with the help of professionals. But eventually, it was around 20 mid of 2020, I started getting better. I found this, I think, middle ground when I was able to use the minimal dose of chemotherapy and minimal dose of cannabis, plus supplements, herbs and other things. And once again, lots of inner search and meditation. Next one. So, the meditation has been really essential part of my life for many years, close to 30 years. And I believe it really helped me in my healing. After a while, as I said, about mid-2020, I started getting better. I started feeling that I am coming back to life. But I want to touch base on meditation as a healing method, because as a society, we are so stressed out. We are constantly worrying. We are challenged on many levels. We are challenged financially. We live in the fear of pandemics, war, lockdowns. There is loss of community ties. There is loss of family ties. We feel lonely and isolated. And stress, as we know, science shows and medical research, but science plays that stress has a horrible effect on our bodies. It's detrimental to our brain, to our immune system and our body. Science shows, evidence shows that stress actually affects our brains in a very detrimental way. It shrinks our neurons. It reduces our ability to function properly. It affects our immune system. And also, we are so focused on doing in our society. We have become human doings. We are not human beings anymore. That constant activity, the chatter in our mind, we forgot how to simply be. So that's why I feel the meditation is an important part when you practice simply being. And a lot of think, oh, I can't meditate because I can't focus, I can't concentrate. It's absolutely not about that. Let's allow ourselves to have a bad meditation. It really doesn't matter, because the point is that when you start meditating, initially your brain, your mind will throw a lot of discomfort into you because it's not used to it. So you may feel uncomfortable, you may feel like racing mind, you feel uncomfortable body. But the point is just persevere, because it is really, really worth it. And it has changed my mind. So I always tell my patients, I'm not practicing anymore actively, clinically, but I used to teach my patients about meditation. I would tell them, look, even do 1 or 2 minutes a few times per day. Simply just focus and start observing your breathing. You don't really need to go into anything very complicated. It could change your life. Next one. So also, another point is that in my healing, I realized how important to be authentic, not just positive. A lot of cancer patients experience a lot of fear of death, fear of suffering, fear of chemotherapy, nausea, vomiting, and so on. So we need to embrace that fear. We can't just suppress it. It's impossible to be in that situation to be just positive. You need to become aware of your shadow part, of your painful emotions, because that's the only way to heal them, to become aware. And it could be a very uncomfortable process, but it's also very essential one as well. And, our society, we sort of experience a lot of suppression of our emotion. To fit into society, quite often we need to suppress certain parts. We need to present on personality level as good, diligent, and so on. But we are suppressing our hatred, our aggression. I'm not saying that you have to act on your aggression, but you need to become aware of that in order for you to heal. So that transcending that our fear, our stress, our emotions is also very important. And we realize that we live in the world of polarities. If there is good, there is bad. If there is black, there's white. That's why we sort of navigate ourselves in the society through realizing contrast. And by seeing both negative and positive, we realize that there is wholeness behind it. So that was also very essential in my healing and processing. Next one. And I really love this poem from the Rumi poet, The Guest House, because it really describes who we are. This being human is a guest house. Every morning is a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be cleaning you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. And I quite often read this poem, it is in my book as well, because it's just so very relevant. To me, life is a teaching experience, that every experience, whatever we feel, we can, if we are challenged, we can become victim, or we can just say, yes, life, teach me whatever you bring. I know it is for my highest good. Next one. So I also want to talk briefly about magic and mystery of death, because it is my personal belief that we are eternal travelers. We are spiritual, vibrational, multi-dimensional beings who travel from space and time, and occasionally, every so often, come here to experience the physicality, the human condition. And to me, there is no birth, no death, and just transition. I remember when my son was about, I think, 4 or 5 years old, I was cooking dinner and he came to me, Mom, all of a sudden, you know that there's nothing wrong with death, you just go in another dimension. And I was very surprised because I never tried to put my beliefs on him. And I looked at him and I said, how do you know that? And then he looked at me and said, don't you? And he just took off. So I think sometimes children are more connected with these other aspects of our being that we sort of forget about it. So death is scary because it is unknown. And I also know that I still have lesions in my bones. Recent scans were suggestive of possible progression. And I know that, like all of us, one day I will go. So I embrace this, just like at the end of my travel here and just going to another dimension. And that attitude really helps me a lot. Eliminating, working on that fear and realizing that we are eternal. This is just another form of being here. Next one. And cannabis. Right, I think it's quite relevant to say here because cannabis has affected my life in so many ways, both professional and personal. Until January 2016, I was so arrogant and ignorant about cannabis. I knew absolutely nothing about it. I never smoked marijuana. I was quite afraid of it because to me, I was absolutely convinced that once you start smoking, this is it, your life is over. You become heroin addict and you are absolutely ruined. But when I heard in January 2016 that it was going to be legalized for medicinal use, I became very curious. But the way it happened, it was one weekend when I went to a meditation retreat. And we were meditating, we were also experimenting with some sacred plants, I would say, ayahuasca. And after we have some sharing. And one of the participants said that you don't choose your plant, the plant will choose you when the time comes. And when I came back home, and Monday morning, my son said to me, you know that medicinal cannabis is going to be legalized for medicinal use, the cannabis is going to be legalized for medicinal use. And I just felt the shiver going down my spine. And I thought, is it possible so quick? Is it my plant? So I started reading and researching and became just so fascinated. And I thought how arrogant, how ignorant I was. This is such an amazing plant with such a rich history of over thousands of years. And it's so amazing on many levels, not only just medicine, we can do so much with this plant. And the fact that it was prohibited, I was absolutely surprised and I just couldn't believe it. But I also watched lots of documentaries on YouTube about healing with cannabis, and I was really touched by patient stories, especially children suffering from intractable epilepsy. And when I felt that voice within me that I have to become involved, that I can't be just a neutral bystander conveniently waiting for others to become involved. And when I co-founded Medihuanna in October 2016, and I became quite involved and advocate, but also teacher, and then I used to prescribe medicinal cannabis as well, and observed many positive therapeutic effects. So this is a story. I'm not only such a transformation from opponent, ignorant and ignorant. I became advocate, patient, and prescriber, as well as mentor and teacher. But when I teach about medicinal cannabis now, we run many workshops. I teach doctors that it's not just about prescribing medicinal cannabis, it's about being holistic, seeing the whole person in front of you, empowering your patient, teaching them about diet, exercise, other plants and herbs and medicine. And I can see, I'm observing that a lot of doctors are becoming quite open to that. Because remember, if you just take cannabis and you do nothing else about your life, if your diet is rubbish and you smoke and drink, and you don't know how to deal with your automatic negative thoughts, then cannabis is just a drug. To me, cannabis, it's a plant like any other plants that opens your portal to deeper understanding and more healing. Next one. So, what's important for me to the love and gratitude. In our society, apart from many other epidemics, we also suffer from epidemic of loneliness, disconnection, feeling the sense of not belonging. And I was like that. Most of my life, I felt very insecure as a girl, as a woman. I felt very insecure in relationship with men. I failed miserably on many times. I suffered broken marriage. I just felt that I was never good enough, pretty enough, attractive enough, smart enough. I always had this feeling of insecurity and low self-esteem. And I left my marriage in 2016 because it was quite dysfunctional. And for many years, I just couldn't connect with anyone. I was really craving this loving, caring relationship, but it wasn't happening to me. So last few years before cancer re-emerged, I really wanted to die. I felt on the surface I was doing presentation on cannabis, I was a successful doctor, but deep inside I was dying. I was actually praying for God to take me. I remember living in Bumantes, and then I was falling asleep and I said, because that emptiness, that disconnection was so horrible. And I said, God, please send someone to murder me. Just make sure that it won't torture me. I'm sorry. But it was very, very painful. And so, when cancer came back, the lamp around my heart, I think it manifested my broken heart. And something magic happened. In February 21, I met the love of my life, George, who is here. And the man is amazing. He helped me so much. He embraced me. Thank you. It's good. So, next one. What happened? 6 months later, after meeting George, I have my scans, and the huge lump around my heart disappeared. A lot of doctors would think it's chemo, it's cannabis, whatever, but to me it was healing of my broken heart. The lump is gone and didn't come back. My lungs are clear, and I really feel that. But before I met George, I started connecting with myself. I started loving myself, appreciating my shared self. I know it may sound fake, but I was standing in the mirror and initially felt like so stupid. I would say, I love you, 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 until I started believing that I am lovable, that I am worthy of love and reciprocated relationship. And I am doing well. I'm healing. Next one. So now, I'm doing amazing things. Just a couple of months ago, I went to South America with George, and from May we traveled for 8 weeks. We did Inca Trail together, and cancer patient. While trekking Inca Trail, I got COVID. We both got COVID, and there was not even single thought of us giving up. We traveled throughout South America. We did things together, and life is absolutely amazing. I love it. And regardless of how many lives, how many years I've got, doesn't matter, but I really feel that my life is worth living, it is fulfilling. So in this book, I'm just spreading the message that things can happen to you, but never give up. Never ever give up, because transformation, transcendence of your sadness, of your loneliness is possible, it can happen. But you have to start with yourself. Next one. So my motto is that there is opportunity in any negativity, that when faced with adversity, we have a choice of becoming victims, or we can use this as an opportunity to grow and evolve. And I am the living example of that. I just love immensely. I love people, I love environment, I love everything. Next one. So in my attitude now, I don't even think about cancer. I don't think about cancer cells. Because there's psychological law that is saying that what you focus on grows for you. I am focusing on life. Life is a mystery. Life is magic. It's a miracle. Our bodies are absolutely amazing. So that's what my focus is, on the joy and life, regardless of how long it's going to be. So this is me in Catre, in Machu Picchu. Next one. And I thought, I really love this photo. This is me when I was about 4 years old, and this is me recently. I am a little bit rebellious, although on the surface shy. I remember I was about 4 years old, and my mom wanted me to have a beautiful picture, and I said, I am not posing, I don't want beautiful picture, I am who I am, and I just did this. So that photo was taken. It's not very beautiful, but I really love it. And next one. So this is my book, and it's available for you to free of charge. I just want to share it. But there's one more thing that I want to share with you: the power of manifestation and the law of attraction. Okay, this book, I was ready to publish this book in 2019. Unfortunately, as the cancer happened, I had to put it aside. I couldn't focus on it, and I wasn't ready. So I'm reading this now. A lot happened during this time, lots of inner discoveries and growth. And the most important one was meeting the man of my dreams. I met George in February 2021. What is fascinating is that a few weeks prior to meeting him, I wrote the following letter to the imaginary man. And this letter went as follows. To the man that I love. Hello, my darling. But he wasn't there in my life yet. But I acted as he was. So, hello, my darling. Thank you so much for being in my life, loving me unconditionally, supporting me, respecting me. Thank you for being so honest and approachable. I know that I can count on you in every second of my life. Being with you is so easy and flowing. Thank you for accepting me the way I am. Thank you for the wonderful sex we're having. Sorry, too much information. You're so considerate and gentle with me. Oh, I'm blushing. You're so tuned in, and I am so appreciative of it. But that's power of love. Lots of sex. Important. I love you so. I love so much the way you touch me. I love your presence and your beautiful smile. I love the way you look at me, how you put your arms around me, and I just feel that warmth. It is so amazing being with you. I have waited and searched for you all my life. I know you were looking for me just as much as I was looking for you, my dear, and now we are together, and it's so amazing. I love the fact that you are a little, also a bit old-fashioned, that you are the gentleman who opens the doors for me, that you bring me flowers and little gifts, that you know my needs and you are comfortable calling me and texting me loving messages. You mean so much for me, and I continue showing my love for you, caring you for you and loving you with all my heart. You are such a great mind. We are so much on every level. I love our passion talks about mind, spirit, ancient civilization, and so on. You are so fit and healthy, and we're experiencing many walks together. I love being silent with you, and I love gazing at the stars and moons with you, and moon with you. I love dancing in the rain and drinking pina coladas. I love our travels and exploration together. I feel you under my skin. I love you, my dear, and I always will. And shortly after I wrote this letter, we met. I'm so in love and now and feel embraced, cared for and accepted for being just the way I am. I know in my heart that he's the one, my lover, my friend and my companion. I decided that I would write about this next cancer journey in another book. It will come, I promise. So I am concluding with the saying, to be continued. As I'm writing these words on September 1st, 2021, I struggle to hold back fears. I'm very touched by this experience. Life is amazing and full of beauty. Beauty and magic are within and around us. All we need to do is pay attention, trust and focus on what is most sacred and amazing. Blessings and love to you all from all my heart. Dr. Teresa Towpik. Thank you so much. So, I just want to give this word of encouragement. Doesn't matter where you are, how much you struggle. Perhaps, you know, we put on a face quite often and pretend, but deep inside we are all the same. We have all our struggles and emotions, and I am quite okay to show my vulnerability, my insecurities, because I believe that showing vulnerability, insecurities is the sign of strength. Thank you so much for you all.